And welcome back. Created in 1992 by the Wake County Board of Commissioners, the Wake County Historic Preservation Commission is a 12-member board charged with preserving and protecting the county's special heritage. Joining us to talk about the board's mission is Gary Roth, President and CEO of Capital Area Preservation, and Ed Morris, Chair of the Wake County Preservation Commission. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Ed, what is the purpose of the Wake County Historic Commission?
Well, the Commission's goal is to help promote historic preservation across Wake County in a number of ways. First of all, we like to educate the public about what historic preservation means, how it benefits the community, what positive economic impacts it has on the community. We also are trying to preserve those few remaining properties that are real jewels to the community. They're important to our history, our past. They're important architecturally or for who has lived there in the past. So we do a little bit of everything.
Gary, what type of partnership exists between the Commission and the Capital Area Preservation Group?
Capital Area Preservation provides staffing to the Commission. We also provide various services to the Wake County Planning Group and so forth. We also, because it is a partnership, we also share in a number of the programs together. Probably the most notable is our preservation celebration that happens every May, where our organization and the Preservation Commission join together to recognize all the new landmark owners. But on a day-to-day basis, we provide staffing services.
Ed, why is this effort so important?
Well, when you have a county like Wake County that is just vibrant and growing at a massive rate, you very easily can lose those elements of our past that are important to us. And once they're gone, they're gone. If we can identify a few of those jewels that are out there still that are untouched and get the property owners involved in helping preserve them, that is an important thing for future generations. We also, provide, for example, with a historic farm setting. If that's designated as a historic landmark, it also provides an element of open space in an area that may become totally surrounded by subdivisions in just a few years. So we're trying our best to try to preserve the best of the best.
How does the community benefit from this process of saving, preserving structures and homes?
Well, as Ed touched on, in a sense, we are a growing community. We all recognize that there are many benefits of growth. What we think is important is that these historic properties be a part of that growth, that they be a part of the future. And we think we all benefit as a home in a community is preserved. Generally, it has very positive effects on all the surrounding properties.
What are some of the more fascinating properties that have been preserved over the years?
There's so many in Wake County, but I'll give you an example of just two or three public buildings. You think when you're talking about historic preservation, most of it is private homes and that sort of thing. But in Wake County, we have a mix of public and private. Yates Mill, just south of Raleigh, a wonderful 18th century grist mill, fully restored, functional. There's nature walks, there's science education. It is a great place to take a family on an outing. Another one that comes to mind is a much newer building than Yates Mill is J.S. Dorton Arena at the fairgrounds. Few people realize that when Dorton Arena was built in the early 1950s, it made international headlines. It was the first arena of any type without internal column supports. And then right next door to Dorton Arena, there's another example, a bit older example, the State Fair Education Building.
I want to mention the Apex Dome. I think it's neat because it is such a humble building. It was built really to be a vegetable stand. But what's neat about it is the dome. The building is called the Apex Dome, but what's neat is the dome itself. Because even though it's sort of a humble building, it traces its genealogy goes back to Buckminster Fuller, who was the designer of the geodesic domes. So I like to point that one out because it's a very unusual, it's an internationally significant building, but yet it's also a very humble building.
Oh, very interesting. Ed, have there been any recent designations?
Oh yes, we do several a year, and the most recent we have just awarded their plaques to. And one that comes to mind would be the Robertson Mill Pond site, and that's actually a Wake County site, part of the Wake County Park System. It's an archaeological site. We only have a couple of archaeological sites landmarked in Wake County. And then just down the road from the mill site, same road out in eastern Wake County in the Wendell area, is the Dr. Thomas H. Avera House. Also down in southern Wake County, in the Fuquay Arena area, we have two recent landmarks. We have the Howard House. The Howard House is right downtown in Fuquay Arena, and just a few blocks away is the Stevens House. The Stevens House, also built in the early 20th century, still in the same family that built the house a century ago. And again, another property that is virtually untouched. It is in its original form. Both two very nice properties that have recently been added to the list.
And Gary, before we close, if residents want to find out more information about preservation in Wake County, where should they go?
Well, there's two. They can always go to Wake.gov. They can also go to CAP's website, which is www.cappresinc.org. And there they will find applications for landmarks, they'll find Q&A about what it means to be a landmark, and they will find a list of the entire inventory of Wake County landmarks, which is now up to something like 72.
Okay, fantastic. Gary Roth, President and CEO of Capital Area Preservation, and Ed Morris, Chair of the Wake County Preservation Commission. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Keep up with the latest Wake County news by visiting us online at wakegov.com/news or on Facebook or Twitter. That's our show for today. Thanks for watching.